Hi folks, welcome to Crisco's Corner, unfiltered commentary, and that's your truth, the real truth. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for your support. Hi folks, welcome back to Crisco's Corner. From Just the News. I prayed this wasn't true, but it is. Democrat lawmakers put forward legislation to add 4 more justices to the U.S. Supreme Court. Was it just 3 or 4 days ago they're putting together a fact-finding or a committee or some kind of study on raising the amount of people on the court? Folks, we're at DEFCON 5. The Democrats have always used the judicial system to ram through their agendas. Always. Let's think of the Port Baker in Colorado. This is a big deal. This is one of my biggest fears from last year's election. I appeal to the 10-15% Democrats that are still reasonable and normal. The old school Democrats that just fought for the rights of blue-collar workers and all the things that Democrats fought for years. Free speech, there's a whole litany of stuff. The same Democrats that marched with Dr. King. I need those Democrats to speak up. Let's read on, and then I'm going to make an appeal to everyone, but especially the small percent of sane Democrats that are still left. Congressional Democrats are slated to introduce legislation on Thursday. Well, as I record this, it's Wednesday, so when I put this video out, it'll be today. They would add 4 more justices of the U.S. Supreme Court, boosting the number of justices on the bench from 9 to 13. Representative Montere Jones of New York and Jerry Nadler of New York. Now, I live in upstate New York, so I'm real proud of these two. I'm sorry, is the sarcasm a little too thin? Representative Hank Johnson of Georgia and Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts. What a shocker. Are backing the legislation and are slated to participate in a press conference about it on Thursday. This is what Representative Jones said. From my state of New York. Maybe not for much longer. Supreme Court expansion is infrastructure, Representative Jones tweeted. These people have lost their effing minds. My understanding is at this moment, there's only a 4-seat advantage to the Democrats in the House of Representatives. It used to be 5, but a gentleman in Florida died. There has to be 2 or 3 sane Democrats left in the House of Representatives. I know it's tough. I know if you call Nancy Pelosi the Speaker and say, Madam Speaker, I can't vote for this. I had a close election last time. I can't vote for this. She'll say, shut up, do what you're told, or make sure that you don't win next time. We'll have somebody to primary you and you're out. Somebody we can control. She won't say the control part, but the message will be heard. Oh, God. Senator Markey and Representative Jones, Johnson, and Nadler will announce a bill to expand the Supreme Court to 13 seats tomorrow. This is from Andrew Solender. This bill marks a new era where Democrats finally stop conceding the Supreme Court to Republicans. How are they conceding the Supreme Court to the Republicans? These people are dangerous. As far as I'm concerned, the number, and this is one of the things I criticize the founders about. There's very few things I criticize the founders about in the Constitution. Not naming the number of justices was one of them. Because that would take a constitutional amendment. And that's almost impossible to do, especially for this item. That's the one I criticize them the most about. And the scope of the power of the Supreme Court is another one. And making the runner-up in the presidential election vice president. But that was later fixed by amendment. The bill marks a new era where Democrats finally stop conceding the Supreme Court to Republicans. Not ceding the Supreme Court to anybody. When there's a vacancy, whoever's president appoints somebody. It's not brain surgery. These people are dangerous. Now, if you remember, just 2 or 3 days ago, President Biden said they're going to appoint a panel or a committee or something to study this. And it seems like there's a disconnect. Did President Biden not know about this bill being introduced today? I'm putting it out on Thursday. Tonight's Wednesday night. Did he know this was coming? I would find it incredibly hard to believe that he doesn't know. So that little smokescreen he pulled with putting a panel together to investigate or talk about or fact find or whatever the hell you want to call it was a con. Or what I think really happened, honestly, he had no clue this was coming. Why? Because as a practical matter, he is not president of the United States. And that should scare the hell out of everyone, including Democrats. Now, the progressives and the leftists, the flat earthers, they're too far gone. You can't reason with them. But there's enough normal Democrats left to say no in this country. And I pray to God in the House. We have to put all our chips in on Jerry Manchin in the Senate and Sinema in the Senate. I don't know what's going to happen. This is irreversible. This is like cutting off your arm and then changing your mind later. You can't go back. You can't go back. As the Italians say, my father's side are all Italians. Will give you agita. The news comes shortly after the White House announced a commission that will present a report to the president after examining issues related to reforming the nation's high court. They call it a reform. What they want to do is pack it, stack it. And don't think for a minute this hasn't been done before. In Venezuela under Maduro, when it was still a democracy, the Supreme Court ruled against him several times. So he just added a bunch more justices. And then he became a dictator. It's happened in many other places. And for those of you that don't know, Venezuela's government, before it was a dictatorship, was almost exactly set up as the U.S. They used the U.S. as a model. The commission's purpose is to provide analysis of principal arguments in the contemporary public debate for and against Supreme Court reform. That was you can read the rest of that paragraph there. I'm not going to read the whole thing. When House Judiciary Committee ranking member Jim Jordan of Ohio asked about the accuracy of reporting from the Intercept's Ryan Grimm that committee chair Nadler and others will be introducing such legislation, Nadler did not answer Jordan's question. Jordan asked if it was true. The chairman wouldn't answer. Sounds like the Democrats are running away from the bill before it's even introduced. This is a shorter article. I'll stop it here because I didn't read that whole paragraph. Those of you want to stop the video, talking about what the commission was supposed to do. Folks, all conservative people, all Republicans, all independents, definitely all libertarians, all normal Democrats that are left. And there's still several million of you out there that are still normal Democrats. You're probably older. I'm 64. You're probably over 50. This is unacceptable. And then we'll say, well, we're going to ram this through, and it's going to pass unless you do this, this, and this. You give us term limits, or you give us age restrictions. or whatever the reason is. Maybe this is something they're going to put up so they can get something else. I doubt it, though, because they're power hungry and they're insane. They know this won't fly with the majority of the American people, including many Democrats. It hasn't even been 100 days yet, and look at the damage they've caused. This is serious. Even Ruth Bader Ginsburg, for Pete's sake, said this was a really, really bad idea. Justice Breyer, who's on the bench now that wants to retire, said this is a bad idea. It's a bad idea. I think the last time it was officially tried was during FDR. That guy that started actually was Woodrow Wilson, but to piggyback on, FDR started this huge government nonsense just to be piled on by Lyndon Johnson. My God, my God. You know, people might not have liked Kennedy, and they might have said that he cheated in an election, but the world would have been a lot different place and a lot better one, and the U.S. would have been better if Kennedy hadn't have got shot. Go online. Now, I don't use Google anymore for very specific things. I use DuckDuckGo, but any search engine you want, and try to find all the Democrat members in the House. And they'll list phone numbers. I think it's us.gov or something. I'm not sure. And then do a little bit of, it's going to take you a little time. It'll take you half an hour, 45 minutes. Search through the election results from last year in the House races. Find out the 10 or 15 or 20 Democrats that won, but not by much. I know it was a close election. Maybe 52-48%. 51-49, 54-46. And get all their phone numbers. And go on all your social media. Go on your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram with the phone numbers of the offices of these Democrats. And say, if you vote for this or any alteration to the current rules set up by the Supreme Court, I will send money to your opponent, and I encourage everybody else to send money to your opponent, whoever that will be in the next cycle. And I will do everything in my power to make sure that everybody lives in that district and outside that district, make sure that you lose. These people can only be budged by force. When I say force, I mean political force, not physical force. This is unacceptable. This is irreversible. Like I said, this is like taking someone's arm off and then changing your mind later. You can't go back. This will be a permanent, another branch of government, another legislative branch of government run by progressives and leftists for at least 20, 30 years, if not longer, depending on when the vacancies fall. It might even be worse. And by a weird coincidence from their math, adding 4 more justices gives them their majority. It'd be 7-6 in their favor. The American people don't have a say in this now. The election last November is over. They can't threaten them with voting them out until another year and a half plus. But you can go, and on top of that, I encourage everybody to call the Speaker's office. Now, a couple of conditions. Tell them how upset and how wrong this is. Don't swear. Don't threaten. Use a monotone voice. Show a little bit of passion, but don't be argumentative. And call as many Congress members as you can. I don't anticipate any Republicans, maybe 1 or 2 asshats that are anti-Trump people that just will go against the Republicans because there's something wrong with them. I'm telling you, This is serious. They're putting up a trial balloon. Worse things are to come. Worse things. 30, 25, 30 million people amnesty in this country. They're putting this up because they can get away with this. They can get away with anything else. This has to be stopped. Call the president's office. Look it up online. I use DuckDuckGo as a search engine, but use a search engine of your choice. Have 5 of your friends do the same. Get a list of the Congress people that you found out were close. And call them all. Especially Democrats in the red states. They might be in the big cities in the red states, but they're still in red states. This is huge, and this is incredibly dangerous. This is how Venezuela went from being the richest to one of the freest countries in South America to become one of the poorest and least free countries in South America in less than a decade. You can't find a dog or a cat in the cities anymore because the people killed them and ate them. And they have oil and gas reserves that rival any country in South America. They were so incredibly rich and prosperous, and look at them now. All because Maduro stacked their Supreme Court, which was set up exactly like ours. This is not hyperbole. This is not a conservative bias on my part. The other dangerous thing is the Supreme Court will become a joke, a kangaroo court, if you will. People won't take judges and courts' decisions seriously anymore because they know it's fixed, and they're going to lose faith in our federal judicial system. They're teetering on that now. This will put the vast majority of people in this country over the edge. There's already a lot that don't have faith in the election system. Can't go into detail about that because this is YouTube. The fastest way for a republic to disintegrate into chaos and anarchy is to lose faith in its election process and to lose faith in its judicial system. Nothing will tear it down quicker. This is the Minuteman call in the Revolutionary War. This is DEFCON 5 politically. This has to be killed. This has to be stopped. And no compromise on smaller things they want. It was set up by the founders this way, and it's worked remarkably well. Not perfect, but remarkably well for over 200 years. And those that say times have changed, things are different, no. People are still the same. Technology's different. How we carry ourselves, how we get information is different. But fundamentally, people are still the same. This court, even though I've been critical in the past on some of the issues, some of the cases they didn't take, I was very critical of them in the Obamacare case. But I ate the loss and moved on because it was legally done. I thought they were wrong, but I didn't feel like I was cheated, and I didn't feel like that was a kangaroo court. This is serious. Please, folks, please get as many numbers as you can from congressional members, all Democrats. Please pass those on to your friends, and have your friends promise to give it to 5 other people they know, and those people give it to 5 others, and on and on. Be relentless. Use the tactics of the progressives and the leftists. Pound them verbally on social media, Facebook, Twitter, any other platform you want to use. Let this thing get legs. This has to fail. If this goes through, our republic will be on life support, near death. That's not an exaggeration. It's happened so many times in the world in the past, just like this. This is incredibly dangerous. Please, even you Democrats out there, think of your children and think of your grandchildren. What kind of country is going to be like 20 years from now with a kangaroo court, another piece of the legislature that the Democrats control forever? I was a Democrat my whole life. And even if you love the Democrat Party and hate the Republican Party, having one party rule for decades and decades always turns out badly. Put your partisan affiliation behind you, your bias behind you. Think of the country. Think of all the men and women that lay in cemeteries in this country and around the world that gave their lives to protect our republic. Do not let them destroy it from within. All those people sitting in Normandy, all those people sitting in Arlington National Cemetery will have all died in vain. Think about that. And then call as many congressional people as you can. Show your displeasure with this. It's the only way to stop it. And I pray that you do. And until next time, folks, goodbye and good luck.